On any big construction job, there's always one clause in the contract that can literally make or break the project's timeline and budget. So today, we're going to break that down. We are deconstructing Fidic's Clause 20, the official rulebook for claims.
Look, on a construction site, this stuff isn't just theory. It happens every single day. A schedule slips, you hit some unexpected rock where there should have been soil, a last-minute change comes through, and the first question everyone asks is always the same one. Who's paying for this? Who gets the extra time? This is where a simple problem can get really complicated really fast.
And that right there is the key idea. Arguments over time and money are just part of the deal in construction. They're going to happen. But, and this is a big but, there's a huge difference between a professional disagreement and a full-blown project-killing dispute. And that's the whole point, right? There's a system designed to handle the first one to stop it from becoming the second.
So what is that system? Well, for a huge number of international projects, the answer is Fidic's Clause 20. It's this structured, globally recognized framework that's built to manage these exact situations, giving everyone a clear, predictable roadmap for getting things sorted out.
Okay, before we dive any deeper, we've got to be on the same page about one really important word, claim. Now, in the world of Fidic, a claim isn't a fight, it's not an accusation. It's simply a formal way for one party to say to the other, hey, according to our contract, I believe I'm entitled to something here. It's a request, not a battle.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting, especially when you look at how things have changed over time. See, in the old 1999 contracts, the employer and the contractor each had their own separate set of rules for claims. But the 2017 version made this massive change. It created one single, unified process for everybody, all under Clause 20. It was a huge step for fairness and transparency. One rulebook for both teams.
So what kind of things can you claim for? Well, it's actually pretty broad. For the employer, it might be a claim for a price reduction or more time to find defects. For the contractor, it's usually about getting more money or an extension of time. But here's a key thing that people sometimes miss. It also covers other relief. That could be something as simple as asking for an official ruling on what a confusing part of the contract actually means.
And this really gets to the heart of what Clause 20 is all about. It's not just a set of instructions for how to argue. It's a powerful tool for dispute avoidance. The whole structure is there to deal with problems in a methodical, professional way to stop them from spiraling out of control into a formal dispute that can poison the whole project.
All right, so to really get how this process works, we need to know who the main players are. There are 3 key roles at the center of every single Clause 20 claim, and each one has a very specific job to do.
So you've got the contractor, the one's actually building the project, and the employer, the one paying for it. Either of them can start a claim. But the real linchpin here, the crucial third party, is the engineer. And in this situation, the engineer isn't just working for the employer. They have to act as a neutral administrator. Their job is to talk to both sides, try to get them to agree, and if they can't, to make a fair decision. That neutrality? It's everything. It's what makes the whole system credible.
Okay, we've met the players, we know the why, so now let's get into the how. How does a claim actually go from being just an issue on site to a real resolution? Well, Subclause 20.2 lays it all out, step by step. At the end of the day, you can think of it like a 4-step journey. It all kicks off with a formal notice. Next comes the evidence, the contemporary records. After that, the fully detailed claim gets put together. And finally, the engineer steps in to either help find an agreement or to make a formal determination. Let's dig into each of those. Okay, if you remember one thing from this entire breakdown, let it be this number, 28. A party has exactly 28 days from the moment they knew or should have known about an event to give their notice of claim. And I'm not kidding, this is a hard drop-dead deadline. The contract is crystal clear. You miss that window and your right to that claim is just gone. It's probably the single most important deadline in the whole contract. So you've sent your notice on time. Now what? Now you've got to back it up with proof. The contract calls for contemporary records. This isn't about trying to remember what happened weeks later. It means site diaries, photos with timestamps, meeting notes, daily reports of your crew and equipment, all the documentation that was created as the event was happening. This is the absolute foundation of any strong claim. So you take all that real-time proof, all those records, and you bundle them into what's called the fully detailed claim. This is the formal package, and it needs to have 4 key ingredients. You need a detailed story of what happened. You need to point to the specific contract clause that backs you up. You have to include all those records we just talked about. And finally, you have to show your math, the detailed breakdown of the money or the time you're asking for.
All right, let's switch gears a bit. We've gone through the theory, so let's make this super practical, especially for all you engineers and contract administrators who are actually managing this stuff out in the field. So here it is, your field guide to handling Clause 20. First, and this is the big one, act with total neutrality. The process has to be fair, and just as important, it has to look fair to both sides. Second, always try to consult first. Your job isn't to jump in and make a ruling, it's to get the parties to agree. Third, if they just can't agree, then you have to make a fair determination based on the facts and the contract. And always, always document your reasoning. Finally, you have to be the timekeeper. That 28-day clock is sacred and it's on you to enforce it.
So, to wrap this all up, I want to leave you with a question to think about for your own projects. Is your claims process being used the way it was designed, as a structured, professional path to solve problems? Or has it turned into an adversarial battlefield that just leads to more disputes? Clause 20 gives us all the tools we need for resolution. It's up to everyone involved to use them the right way.